All right, here we go.
I made the mistake of eating one of those ginger chews about 10 minutes ago, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah,
Those things are sticky.
they're very
They're
sticky.
good, but man.
Yeah, Trader Joe's ginger chews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're nice and spicy.
yeah, they are super gingery. Well, we got a lot to get into,
Hmm.
and we're doing it last minute once again.
As always.
So let's get into it.
How are we're almost up to 3 years weekly now.
Yeah,
So, yeah, let's get into it. The Chipotle by Nisi's has been unthroned,
dethroned.
dethroned.
Yeah,
Nobody gets unthroned. What's dethroned?
yeah, dethroned.
They've been dethroned.
We in the same parking lot. There's a place called Simple Greek, and boy, is it good. It's really Chipotle style, really.
Yeah,
They have
you know.
bowls and
Yeah, what arrangement do you want your food in?
yeah,
What protein do you want, and then what toppings do you want
but
with it? But it's Greek style instead of
and
Mexican style.
oh my gosh, they had so many options. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
had a couple kinds of rice. They had
Get green beans.
green beans and potatoes, like the thinnest sliced potatoes. I mean, they weren't fried, but they were like super thin sliced potatoes, and then cucumber salads and
Yeah,
olives and just all this stuff and like a million sauces you could get.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we only didn't go there because Brian had Chipotle the night before, and we had Chipotle the week before
Right,
when we
because we
played
were up
with
there.
Coda.
Yeah,
We were
yeah,
up there again to play with the Petty Nicks Experience,
yeah.
and that show was interesting.
That was a weird show.
It was a hot crowd, so it was full
Uh-huh.
room, really good ticket sales. People were hot at the moment we got on stage, but they were a different crowd than we normally bring.
They were just a very different crowd. It was both older and younger.
Mm-hmm.
There were people on both ends of the spectrum that like, wow, you don't see anybody that old at our shows. And then you don't see anybody that young at our shows.
Yeah,
And there was one like family that had like teenage kids and stuff, and that never happens.
pretty rarely.
Yeah, pretty rarely. I mean,
Yeah,
that never
yeah.
at the outdoor shows in the summer and stuff it does.
True.
But like
Yeah.
to buy tickets and come to a show, you don't
Yeah.
normally see people bring their kids to.
Yeah, and there were just, I mean, there were some of our regulars there, but not as many, and just a lot of people who had never seen us before. And I remember when we were walking to dinner and walking back from dinner, I saw people walking into the venue, and I was thinking to myself, they don't seem like the kind of person who would normally come see us.
I had the
And
exact same thought.
I'm not even sure I could describe what kind of person would or wouldn't see us. I mean, it is a fairly diverse group to begin with.
It's a diverse group.
But I don't know. I was just thinking, like, this person must be on a date with somebody who normally sees us, is what I was thinking. Like,
I was thinking the same thing, and I was trying not to jump to conclusions or get nervous about it, but I was a little bit like, and I went out on the set break, and it was just the reaction was just hot and it was really great. It was a really great crowd, but the reaction was just a little different. The energy was different. So maybe it's a good thing or whatever. But I went out on the set break because I was like, I got to figure this crowd out. I mean, they're responding really well, but there is that weird thing I've talked about before where like they're cheering, but I can't tell what they're cheering for.
yeah.
Like sometimes you know what you did,
Uh-huh.
and this time a lot of times I was like, I don't know what they're cheering for exactly.
Right.
I don't know what the emotion is.
Right. It would be as disconcerting as, like, meeting somebody and they laugh at random times at things you say, and you're like, I don't know what I
What
said to make you laugh.
what a good analogy. Yeah.
We're not connecting somehow.
We're not connected to that. But anyway, I went out on the set break and just hung out. I threw on a hoodie and went out and was like hanging out in the crowd. And then I ran into Dave, who Dave and Leonard
Yeah.
are always coming to our shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, of course, great to see them, and it was wonderful that they came. I was bummed that I didn't wind up getting to talk to Leonard much because Leonard is always loves us and loves music. That guy goes and sees like 200 shows a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does. And he's retired and he just goes to shows. And but he's always very critical, and I
Mhm.
really appreciate it because he will tell us like, I've noticed this wasn't as good as it usually is, or that wasn't as good, or like sometimes it's even just sound stuff where he's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
and then you can go like, oh, okay, I'll make sure that doesn't happen next time. So it's great having a critical ear out there. I mean, he's a real fan. He just wants us to be. Anyway, I ran into David Leonard, and they were like, oh, what are you doing out here? And I was like, man, I'm just trying to figure out this crowd. And they were like, yeah, these are a lot of different people. And I was like, good, so I'm not crazy, right? And they were like, yeah, this does not seem like the normal Nieces crowd.
Yeah.
And so I don't have an explanation for that.
I mean, maybe Vic changed the targeting on the Facebook ads or
That
something,
might
or
be-
or maybe the Facebook algorithm changed and reached different people.
That is very interesting. Like there was a guy there who was maybe Asian, maybe Native American, and he had long hair, but it was like very neat and like slicked back, and he was super muscular and stuff. And on like the crazy tight shirt where you could see like all of his muscles.
Yeah.
Like it was a button-up shirt, but it was like polyester and it was like stretchy and
Right.
tight.
That's
and you
not
were
the
like,
kind of person we
that's
normally
not
see on our
normally.
shows.
And he was right up front, just kind of. And it was just like, that's just, I mean, that's great. I love attracting new people. But I don't know why or what happened. And, you know, it was just, and the show was great. It was great. Nieces is always great. It just threw me off a little. I just
Yeah.
couldn't figure him out. It was your analogy where I'm like, I'm making you laugh. So it's good I'm making you laugh. But I'm not clear on why.
Yeah.
What's funny to you about that?
Yeah.
And you're not laughing at the part I thought would be funny. You're laughing at this other part.
Right.
It was very like that. Or like we'd finish something and I would be like, that should have gotten the biggest reaction of the night. And it didn't. And then some other thing would be like, they'd be losing their minds. Although some lady kissed my hand.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So gross. I was like, doesn't normally happen. I don't normally like doing it. I have gotten pulled off stage before, so I'm leery about reaching into the audience. But people kept trying to give me high fives and stuff, so I was like high-fiving people and stuff. And I went to high five her because she was reaching for me, and she was like, no, 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 and like grabbed my other hand. And then I was like high-fiving something else, and I was like, what feels weird? And I looked down, and she's like kissing my hand. I was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
gross. Like,
All right. Well, that was our Nieces show.
yeah.
It went great. There's a little mystery involved there. I think, I don't know if the word is spreading or the algorithm changed or the targeting is different or
Yeah.
what, but we had a similar thing happen the next night. Not a similar thing. Well, the thing that was similar the next night is we had a lot of new people.
A ton of new people. So we were down in Pueblo for the very first time that this band has played in Pueblo. I've played down there a couple times, but with different acts. But with Petty Nicks, this is the first time in Pueblo. We played Pueblo Memorial Hall, which is an amazing venue. The shots of us playing are just, it was a huge stage. We didn't even come close to selling out, but we sold 610 tickets.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing.
For a new market.
Yes, it was.
That's just crazy.
That is just crazy. I mean, the venue was 1,600, but it was a great theater, and the way they had the way the seats were arranged in some of those really great theaters, you never really feel, it doesn't feel empty. You know?
It didn't. It didn't. I mean, the balcony was about 3 rows deep of people, and then the floor felt more full than empty. So
it felt more full, yeah. So, but 610 in a new market is amazing. But it was, and you were so smart to ask, because you do your thing where you sometimes ask the audience like a question, like who here likes Tom Petty, who here likes Stevie Nicks, who likes whatever.
Yeah.
In this case, you were like, who is here because they've seen us before,
or knew about us.
Yeah, I think is how you phrased it.
And we're excited that we're finally in Pueblo.
And we're finally in Pueblo,
and
that's why you came. And then who
just saw that we were playing here and thought, hey, I'll check them out.
Yeah.
And that was most of the people.
That was most of the people. I bet 100-ish, maybe not even 100, 75-ish people cheered when you said who knows who we are, basically.
Yeah.
And then everybody else this was their first time.
Yeah.
And the cheer was big and the audience was hot.
They were.
I mean, we got a standing ovation.
In the middle of the first set.
In the middle of the first set.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
It was like, oh.
Who gets a standing ovation 30 minutes in.
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
I knew it was going to be hot because another thing we probably talked about, I do a lot of the stage handing, and I certainly do my own guitar teching for the most part. So I'm out on and off stage a bunch in the 30 minutes before we go on, because I'm like putting out waters, I was putting out set lists, I was tuning my guitars so that when we started, my guitars would be in tune. And every time I would walk out, somebody would go, "Woo, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Like
yeah,
because I'm obviously not dressed to be like going on stage.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
look
my
like
stage.
crew.
I look like crew. You know,
Yeah.
I try to always have a hoodie on or something to kind of be like, this is clearly not. But every time I would walk on, someone would woo, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good audience. Yeah.
But backing up a little bit on that day, whoo, it was a long day, to put it mildly.
To put it mildly, I am still exhausted. I mean, partially I had a really long day today, but so we played at Nisi's Friday night, got home around midnight, I think, and then we needed to be in Pueblo, 2 hours away, by noon. Traffic was insane, and we didn't make it by noon.
Yeah,
but
I-25 was closed
yeah, so
for a major accident,
yeah.
so it added an hour.
Added an hour. And anyway, didn't wind up mattering, but we were shooting new promo video for Petty Nicks, but then new promo video for the new event, wedding, corporate band that is going to be Petty Nicks Plus, or whatever it winds up being called. And so, you know, we got all dressed up for the corporate stuff in our different clothes. And then we played for a couple hours.
It was crazy making.
Yes.
Playing. So, Kyle from Digital Mile was our videographer.
Who's amazing.
He's amazing. I cannot wait for the result, because he's the best editor. He's shooting in 8K. It's going to be so good. But he likes to get a lot of different angles, so he has a lot to edit with.
Right.
So we had these plans of little sections of songs that we wanted to put together into this demo reel. So like 6 songs or something. And we would pick a short section of the song and just loop it and just play it over and over again. And some of those sections were so short, but we were doing them for like 15 minutes. So the beginning of Let's Dance, for example, by David Bowie, it goes, we looped that 40 or 50 times at least.
I mean,
if not 80. I mean,
maybe 80. Like, and then we do the it's like the beginning of Beatles and then we'll shake it up, baby. Now it's like it's the same. It's that figure from the beginning of that Beatles song. Anyway, and then we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, do it again.
Kyle's shooting, each person from like 4 or 5 different angles.
Yeah.
Each time we do it. And then we were like, okay, dude, we cannot do this.
Towards the end.
Oh my gosh.
We were just like, we gotta.
We got twice.
It was hours of doing. It was crazy making. Like, my brain sometimes was like,
oh gosh,
just melting.
The beginning of Love Is a Long Road, because that's the just piano for the first 8 bars. So that twice.
Yeah.
And then the band comes in and does the figure.
And we were just doing the intro figure of the song.
Didn't the band come in?
The band did come in.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
The band didn't.
Yeah. But
and just over and over again, and
it was like listening to a truck back up for 20 minutes.
I mean, it was like, and we were doing it for like 20 minutes, just looping this one section of the song. Or what was it? The Fleetwood Mac. For the wedding corporate band, we were doing "Don't Stop." Don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. And we were just doing that.
We did the full chorus.
Full chorus, but just that full chorus. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. Don't stop.
And we did that
for 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
For literally, and you're performing the whole time.
Right.
Because the thing about when they're shooting stuff like that, you don't know when he's going to come over to you. And more importantly, you don't really know when you're in the background of a shot.
Yeah.
So you can't just step back or sit down or just stand there. You've got to perform the whole time
Yeah.
because you might be in the background.
Well,
he might be shooting you.
I was paying attention to where he was because I was like, I can chill when he's. I was just like kind of checking.
You can sort of take breaks,
Yeah.
but you can't. You certainly can't like walk off because you never know when he's going to swing around this way.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's shooting you from this way, and so I know I'm not in the shot, but I don't know when he's
Right.
going to swing around here.
Yeah.
So I've got to at least be watching him to know, like, oh, I better start moving. And
this will be a good kickstart for this band. I mean,
it's going to be. Kyle is amazing. He shot the Cody Qualls Colorado video, which if you have not seen, I highly recommend. It's on YouTube. Some of the shots he got for that are just breathtaking. They're massive. And a similar thing, we were only gonna be out there shooting outdoors for like 3 hours, and we were out there for 30 minutes, and then we were out there for like 5 hours, and we all got terribly sunburned. We've told that story, but yeah, it's gonna be a great jump start because it's gonna look incredibly professional, and it was just great to practice some of those things because we did do a rehearsal Monday. And I thought the rehearsal went great. I was like, it gave me a lot of confidence about the whole project. I was like, oh, this is going to go pretty great.
Cool.
Nothing was perfect, of course, but we didn't all put in like the most work in the world.
Yeah, we knew we weren't gigging with these songs yet.
Right. We weren't rehearsing for a gig. We mainly needed to know some song sections, and then we could, So we did that all day, and then we played our show. So,
so it was 4 hours of shooting video.
And then 3 hours of show.
Yeah.
And then luckily the hotel was a block or two from the venue, so we went back there and we hung out and stuff, but it was great just being like not having to drive back 2 hours after all of that.
Yeah.
Which I was like not planning on doing. The upside though was that we woke up in the morning, had breakfast with some of the guys at the hotel restaurant, and then we went and hung out in Pueblo, and I had no idea how gorgeous and fun and nice at least downtown Pueblo is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that's all we saw was the Riverwalk area of Pueblo, but like, oh my gosh, yeah, just really pretty, really chill, really nice people.
Lots of people walking around.
Oh yeah.
There's restaurants and stores and salons and stuff around this Riverwalk. It's right downtown by where we played. So there's also all these old there's both old buildings and new buildings. So old buildings like nice brick, ornate.
Pueblo has a lot of that.
Early 1900s buildings.
Right. And then some modern stuff.
Yeah, and some new development as well. And we ran into some fans
who had been at the show.
Around.
Yeah.
They recognized us without costumes on, and they were super excited. They said, "You have new fans." Ah. And I think I remember their names. I think it was Jerry and Lisa and Brandy.
It was Jerry and Lisa and Brandy. It sure was.
Look at me.
Learning.
Wow. And let's see. We went to a great little coffee shop where I got a very interesting latte. It was a chai latte, but it was made with ube, which I guess are Japanese sweet potatoes.
Yes.
So the flavor of the latte was ube, Japanese sweet potato, chai latte.
And it was purple.
Made with coconut milk. Yeah.
Made with coconut milk.
And it was so good. And it was so different from anything I've ever had.
I know. Spicy.
Very spicy. The chai is spicy.
And I just had a coffee. We also went into, and unfortunately they were closing. I didn't catch the name because it was literally their last day. But it was
it's like a Western antique store.
Western antique store is what it was. They had all these old magazines, like cowboy magazines, going back to like the 30s and the 40s of like these cowboy, not really comic books because they were like photo pictures, but they were like stories.
Yeah.
And then all these
old Western hardcover books in series. I mean, everything was like, pretty much everything was $1 or less. He was blowing it out, and it was heartbreaking because there was some really nicely curated stuff in
and
that.
The love that had
had
gone into that collection, and just collecting all this old West memorabilia. I mean, they had gun belts. They had it was really crazy. I wanted to buy so much of the stuff. I stopped myself because what am I really going to do with any of this? Like, I don't just need more stuff laying around.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to use any of these things, but it was certainly a real fun time checking out you know, all this old fashioned stuff. And
It really was a kick. And we
yeah,
talked to the guy a little bit, and he said it was bittersweet. And I was like, yeah, we figured. I mean, it's obvious how much love is in this store, and
yeah,
and there are some. I mean, there was some junk as there always is, but
sure.
there was a lot of really cool stuff that I just hope finds a home somehow.
I know. Yeah.
But like, it's not gonna be our home. But I did buy a couple of things. I got a Western shirt, like a plaid shirt for for $1.
For $1.
Literally
Yeah.
$1. And they had some of those plastic figurine horses that are about this big. So
Yeah.
like, what would this be, like 6, 8 inches?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And those were the toys that I played with most when I was a little girl. I had a stable, and I had fences you could move around, like gates, fences, not gates, wooden fences. You could make a corral, and I had a collection of plastic horses, and they were nice. I mean, some of them were nicer than others. There were some that were matte and like looked a little more hand painted or something. You know, they
Yeah,
were like
yeah,
they
they're a
just
little
felt
more
higher quality.
realistic,
They weren't
yeah.
just like plastic mold stamps.
Yeah.
The ones we found in this store were probably like mid-tier quality, and I bought one
Yeah.
because it just made me feel like a little girl. Like those little horses they had their own lives for me.
Right.
So I bought one of those, and then I also bought a little statue of a horse that, you know, about the same size.
Yeah.
But more like a sculpture kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, with a
So,
base,
yeah.
more of a base type
Yeah.
thing. And that all was $7. So
Yeah.
we didn't really break the bank.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was so much of it that was so cool. I mean, they had all these old country cassette tapes, but like, I don't have anything to play a cassette on.
Yeah.
If they'd had Willie Nelson's Family Bible, I would have gotten that just to have, because that's a big memory of mine as a kid. But yeah, it was just one of those weird things where you're just like, boy, I hope all this finds a home, and I sort of want to buy all of it, but I also have to be realistic. I don't really want to fill my house with this stuff.
Yeah. Dude, if you wanted, you could have gotten 140 pairs of cowboy boots for $150.
Yes.
No, less. It was probably more boots than that. Because
Yeah.
he said they're $1 a pair,
Yes.
or buy the entire collection for $150. That's less than $1 a pair.
And it was like a room
It was
full
a whole room full
of shelves.
floor to ceiling.
Floor to ceiling shelves, boots. Yeah, you could have gotten a lot of boots.
I
And
guess
I looked
it'd probably be like 175 pairs of boots.
yeah, none of them or the ones that were in my size were pretty beat up and not. So I didn't even want to try any of them on, or they just weren't like a cool style. I mean, they had really cool ones, but they just weren't in my size.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so with a standard thrift thing.
I had cowboy boots. I wore them a lot through high school and college.
I used to wear cowboy boots, probably, I mean, in Florida, right before we moved out here. I had a pair that I wore often.
They did go with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Even skirts.
Yeah, they were great. They were great on stage. I mean, the big problem, and part of why I just stopped wearing them altogether, not that Denver winter is that long, but the bad weather there, they didn't have any traction, so they were like unwearable in winter, because if you messed up and you didn't think it was going to snow, but then it snowed, you were just totally screwed, because they're just, the ones I had were just slick. Which was interesting about the Pueblo stage.
That's right.
That stage was really slippery, and I could not figure out what it was. I don't know if it was just dust or whatever. You can even, there's some videos online, and I think I'll share them on Facebook. You can even see, I can even see that I am moving differently when I'm doing some of the same moves I do all the time, but I'm not doing them quite the same way.
Throwing yourself across
I'm not
the stage.
throwing myself across the stage, because I would like literally slide. Like I kept like, I'd kind of like walk up to my pedal and go to like hit like the lead or hit off of the lead sound, but my foot would slide a little bit when I would stop, and then I would miss the right pedal, because my foot that I planted would slide 3 or 4 inches or 2 inches even, and then so I wouldn't be where I thought I was. I mean, it turned out fine, nothing happened, but yeah, a fun, tiring weekend, but gosh, is Pueblo cool. Anybody who hasn't gotten a chance to go down there to the Riverwalk, and then they have these Union Street and Main Street have these little commercial districts with little shops and all this stuff. Super cute. The people are so nice. It's like small town nice. Like you know, and the coffee shop we went in was like as hip or more than anything in Denver, and the people were just super cool. I guess there's a college down there, so that's probably part of,
Yeah, CSU.
you know, part of why it seemed cool. But gosh, yeah, go check out Pueblo, for sure.
Yeah.
And then coming up, gosh, you have a stage performance class tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm running that one all by myself, I think, because, well, you have just.
I'm supposed to be at the studio tomorrow, but the class is in. Is it in Denver or is it?
It's in Denver, and it's in Studio 5.
Oh well, then I'll come over there.
Oh, that'd be great if you could help.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured you'd be rehearsing, but. Okay, cool.
No, we rehearsed tonight.
Yeah.
And then so I'll help you do the class. The class is about moving on stage.
Walking, using your hands, using angles, going from one place to another.
I've found I've developed a little bit in that I feel like my walking across stage, like making my way from here all the way across, I think I've gotten better at it even just recently.
What is there to get better at?
It's the attitude, and it's the making sure you're not walking to the beat.
Yeah.
And it's walking with, like, I figured out a little bit of a gait where it's like, it's got lots of intent. You're not walking to the beat, you're not whatever, but you got like, I'm going somewhere, man. I'm about to like tear it up when I get over to where I'm going.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like, I mean, I don't think that I just started doing that, but I think I more noticed that I was doing that. And then like, oh, you know, and what some of it was, randomly, well, Eminem introduced Obama at a rally in Detroit. And then I was watching some Eminem stuff, and like Eminem has this crazy good walk where like he's about to hit a rap, and he'll like, you know, he's on these huge stages, and he'll like do this walk across, and he's been like, man, when he gets where he's going, he is gonna blow it up. And I started realizing that I do that, and so I've been just using it more. I think I was doing it without really thinking about it. It's just funny how like even things you think you can't get better at, you're like, oh, I think I got slightly better at that. But yeah, it's that almost prowling kind of walk. Like I'm,
I think your shoulders just turn a lot.
Maybe
I think that's a big part of it. You've got this kind of like.
Yeah, it's a little more than just
around.
Walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your version of it.
It's paid off a lot because, you know, we've talked about last time and stuff. Not Nieces is a relatively small stage. I mean, plenty. It's great. But then both Greeley, which was a big theater, and then this Pueblo show, very, very big theater stages. And you need to move a lot, and you need to make big moves, or it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's just a big stage. And if I'm going to go back and interact with the drums, that's 25 feet. You know, it's far. And, you know, it helps to be able to make a meal out of getting from here to there. Because you just got to be big on stages like that. You know, it's like, I was watching even some of the stuff somebody posted from Greeley, and I was like, man, I am working hard and I look like I'm doing nothing.
Yeah. I could not believe how small we looked on that stage in that video.
Right.
But it's great to see it, because now I know that like I need more definition to my moves, and I need bigger moves, and I need more attitude walking. And
some of it is the definition.
Sometimes more speed walking. You know, like there's all kinds of ways you can amp something up.
Yeah. And you don't need to be a maniac. It's not like most people, you know, it's always good to remind yourself you don't need to be like constantly emotional or being like this frenetic, but you do just need to be bigger. And actually randomly, I worked with Lena Corrales today. We've finally finished this song we've been working on. And one way or another it came up, and I was like, oh, you should see this video. And so I played her either the one from Pueblo that's floating around or the one from Greeley. It's not a full video, it's just like 30 seconds. But I was like, look how small that looks. And then like zoom it in and look what I'm really doing. But when you zoom it out and you're watching the whole stage, like you would be seeing it from the back of the room or the balcony or whatever, I don't look like I'm doing anything. And we were just kind of talking about like but then at the same time, you've got to modulate that in the other direction. If you are in a small stage in a small room,
right,
you got to bring your moves in a little smaller. You can't just be like throwing everything. It's too much for the space.
Yeah.
It's just good to be aware of. I mean, it's seeing that video made me go, oh, I really need to be thinking about
Is this something that you've thought of when you were playing arenas and stadiums? And
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even in my 20s
okay.
and stuff, when we were playing arenas and big stages, you knew you really had to move
Oh, okay.
kind of a lot. And it wasn't enough to like take a couple steps over here. It's like you need to move to another part of the stage.
Mhm.
And Ben and I had a lot of like, we do it too, although we've never really talked about it, but we'll do the crosses
Mhm.
where we'll like intentionally switch places.
Mhm.
And like Ben and I would do that all the time, where we had a lot of stuff worked out where we would be like, that's what we need to do. It's not even just about me like moving to the middle of the stage to like do a solo or something.
Mhm.
It's just he needs to get over here and talk to these people, and I need to get over here and talk to these people, because it's so big that if you're just staying in your little spot, it's very hard it just kind of looks like you're standing there.
Mhm.
You know, when you play those 8,000, 10,000, 20,000 seat places, it's just like you got to figure out something to, you know, not that we did, you know, we did plenty of those, but it's not like whatever. So let's go ahead and let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here. You get out of here.
Yeah, why don't you leave? We're gonna stay. You leave.
Turn off this podcast now.
Turn it right off. We're sponsored by the city of Pueblo. They brought, again, a lot of cash. It was in a pretty rusted out pickup truck, but it was an entire bed full of cash. So that was very appreciated. Go visit the wonderful city of Pueblo. We're also sponsored by Performance High.
Voice and music studio.
And just like the last 3 years, we're going to keep coming back. So, so you get out of here, turn this off, get ready for next week. And we'll see you guys then.
All right, see you next week.
All right. We're not leaving. Get out of here.
Bye.
What are you doing?
Why are you still here?
Go.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez. I guess we'll go.
Fine.